You guys, oh, there we go. Let me hold on and get rid of this. Yeah, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I know everyone's busy. We are going to take questions. So I know we have I believe we have a chat functionality. And so anytime during this, you could certainly type it in. You don't have to wait until the end, but we will take all the questions at the end. So, but it's an exciting time for us. I think it's probably exciting time for everyone here because we're getting out of the pandemic, which is obviously very, timely, especially with everything going on. I've seen a lot of, challenges from the library standpoint, and we've had our own challenges supporting that. But I think we're really in a great, position. I think we've done a lot to really support the needs through the pandemic. And I think that, we've gotten a lot of great feedback from customers, how we have helped them to transition. And a lot of the transition is really from, on campus to remote access and really online learning. And some of the things that, solutions that we've launched over the last few months, which I think are really important for the librarians and certainly teaching and learning and the universities itself. One of them is Rialto, which is really great marketplace we've created for book buying. And it's really the workflows we've enhanced and really based on the feedback we've gotten from acquisition librarians and folks that are building collections from a library standpoint and a book standpoint. So, we have gotten probably nearly 100 customers on it, and we've really just launched it last year. And we've really seen a lot of volume from customers. It gives the customers the opportunity to acquire books, not only from ProQuest, but from other, vendors, including our competitors, as well as the publishers themselves. So it's great. Another one is TDM Studio, which is text and data mining studio, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with. We launched this last year, and we've really seen a great uptick. Not only the large institutions that do frequent text and data mining projects, research projects that is, but medium and smaller firms, libraries and universities as well. It's really been great. It gives the opportunity to really build a corpus of large amounts of content and then do obviously text and data mining of that based on any subject areas they want to do. It's multidisciplinary. And we've added things like visualization tools and the ability to use it for teaching and learning to really bring up the next generation of researchers who want to do text and data mining. So that's been really important. ProQuest One Business is sort of adding on to the ProQuest One suite of products, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a couple other slides. The open layer has really been great. It allows students and faculty to log on to our websites and get their content. It knows where you're coming from, and it allows them to provide the services that if you were logging into the university library, get those same ones. So it gives a lot of easy access to students and even faculty. And Rapid ILL, which is really great. We purchased this a couple of years ago. Really enables interlibrary loaning and resource sharing. We've seen a great uptick from customers. It allows them to really, work with partner universities and others to share resources. And so it's really been a great opportunity for folks to do it. We've heard a lot from the markets that, lending and borrowing can be expensive because folks pay on a transaction basis. We do a subscription basis. So it's been really great that customers can pay one price and then borrow and lend as much as they want. So those are the kind of the ones we've focused on, and hopefully you've seen these. If you haven't, we're happy to show them to anyone who's interested. So some of the issues that we've seen, obviously really acceleration in is DEI and diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've done a lot of things that I'll get into, but We've seen, and especially this year, some of the universities that have gotten funding either through grants or some of the CARES money. Whoops, shouldn't go that bad. Have really accelerated their collections to be able to use it for teaching and learning, and certainly research and other areas. And we provided a lot of existing and new content, which I'll share a little later. Teaching and learning, obviously we're well positioned to provide content and services in that area, and we've really helped folks do that. And obviously print to E is really started with the advent of the pandemic and is really accelerated. It's funny, people are asking me whether, folks are going back to print, and you would know better than I, but what we've been told is, people have to be prepared for the next crisis. So, E is here to stay. Print obviously will still be collected, but I think the transition going from P to E has really changed fundamentally the way collection strategies are established for a lot of, for you folks. So those are the ones we're seeing. I'm sure there are other ones, but I want to talk about that. And, some of the challenges in obviously acquiring that content, maintaining that content is, figure out where that content exists. How does that map then into the course requirements, and how folks can afford it? I mean, the pandemic has really created some challenges from a budget standpoint because of, having students not on campus, and certainly going from a classroom environment to an online has really created some budget challenges, and obviously, declining enrollment because of that, or delayed enrollment for some students that waited before going to college has created that. So, that's really, created a lot of, challenges with diversity, inclusive libraries, and the change management and whatnot is really something that people are struggling with, and we're trying to help in that process. So how are libraries responding? Again, you know better than I, but these are the ones we've sort of talked to many libraries about every day, about what they're trying to do, which again is really ensuring that DEI is a core competency within the universities in a lot of things they do going forward, where maybe it wasn't before. It's going to be more part of the curriculum in all disciplinary subject areas. So that's going to be something that will, not be a short-term thing. It'll be long-term focus for everyone. And obviously including and making sure that they have all those resources available to faculty, to students, and to folks they deal with is going to be very important going forward. So, really responding, and we're helping, or we're certainly working to help, universities, colleges, and their libraries to have those resources important for us. So what have we done on the content side? We've really launched some new databases focused on DEI, both in books and journals and databases. We provided millions of documents and all kinds of formats, again, including ebooks, journals, videos, all of them DEI, and all those categorized as those. So if someone wants to be able to, figure out what their holdings are today in the DEI space and then map that to what's available, we can certainly do that. And we have done that for many customers. Making it affordable, we've launched Black Freedom Struggles, which is a free database that we've included for many different folks, including universities, public libraries, K-12s, anyone in general that wants to get access to what we have. We've also come up with unique offerings from a subscription standpoint for DEI, whether it be ebooks or other collections. And, we're really working to figure out is how many other formats and other subscriptions and or purchases we can make available that are economically sound for our customers. And we're working hard to do that. We're also obviously doing things from a ProQuest standpoint. So, building community networks within ProQuest and Ex Libris, providing content and local initiatives to really support the communities and the local universities that we support. So we're also looking within ourselves to make sure that we're also working hard to be as inclusive and work as one with our customers and our partners. So I did mention before the book subscription. We launched this actually this year. And so it's a really great opportunity to provide something really focused on DEI. As you know, we have ebook subscriptions like Academic Complete, which has over 100,000, but it's a very wide breadth of types of subject areas. This one is very focused on DEI. And so we have about 18,000 titles in there, and it really covers everything associated with DEI, and we've gotten a really good uptick from customers. It's very affordable, and it's something they could add very easily to their library subscriptions that can then be made available to faculty and students. So again, we've established that. We're going to keep adding to it as publishers release DEI content, and it's something that we really see as a really net positive for our customers and their ability to use specific DEI content for their teaching and learning. Beyond that, we're also working to help, and we have worked over the last 20 years on establishing scholarships for libraries and underrepresented communities. We've done that for a long time. We're working with the communities in ways to really help, and we've done drives, and we have established volunteer days that are paid by the company for folks to do local volunteer work in many different areas. And we work internally to work as our customers do, is to really provide diversity within the company and establish communities that folks can join, whether it be racial, gender, or pride alliances. And so, we really work hard to make sure that we mirror our customers in how they work and are really working with those community-based areas. So again, I mentioned Black Freedom Struggle. Upper left corner there is the website. So if you ever need to get it, please write that down. All this is free content. There's no commitment to ProQuest to do anything, to buy anything. It is freely available. And we found a lot of folks, including K-12 students, that get access to that are using that for book reports and other ways of research. So please use that. And again, we'll add sources and titles to that, but it's something that's free and available today. And I do know a lot of colleges and universities are giving access within the library in their LibGuides to that. So if you haven't seen it, please take a look. We'd appreciate that. Again, I talked about ProQuest One and ProQuest One Business. So we launched, just for folks that don't know, we launched ProQuest One Academic about 2 years ago. And what that allowed us to do was to really bring together some core content sets that we have in different formats. So we have ProQuest Central, which really brings together a lot of aggregated content, including historical newspapers and journals and that sort, on many different subject areas and areas of research and teaching and learning that folks use it for. We have our ProQuest dissertations and theses, which, as you know, is the largest database of that content and is available and are used by most universities that have graduate studies. We have ProQuest One, we have Academic Complete, which is, again, the largest ebook collection. And then Avon, which is our academic video online, which is all video based. So we brought all those formats together in a way that you can do a subject search like, global warming and get many different formats of content that you use built around that subject area, whether it be videos or historical newspapers or ebooks or dissertations and theses. So that was something we did about 2 years ago. And this year we've done single disciplinary subjects like ProQuest 1 literature, and this year ProQuest 1 business. And we've really seen a great uptick in ProQuest 1 business. It really has a ton of information on the business area. We've actually just recently signed Stanford Business Schools, so you can imagine the clout that that has brought. So it's got some great content sets. We've seen small and large universities adopt it, and it's really made a big difference within the business schools. So it's something that we're really proud of. And as you can see on the top right there, we've gotten a lot of awards for the content that we've delivered and the interface that people are using, which makes it really easy to get to this content, and also provides analytics and other things that business schools really rely on these days to really do some quality teaching and learning and really unleash some new business students to some of the larger companies around the world. So really excited about that. And again, here's some of the stuff I've just talked about. So I won't, talk about every bullet point we have here, but it does have a huge amount of content sets. You can see some of the publications we have, the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times and all the economics, can't say that. And some of the topic areas and different things we have, it really is first class. And so if anyone has any interest or questions about that, we're happy to answer any of those as we go forward. Again, here's some of the other analytics that you can get with it, as I mentioned before. So it really has a quality interface that folks use to in the business space. Leganto, as I don't know if Gary mentioned before, but we brought the sales teams together for ProQuest and Ex Libris. And so we really see a lot of synergies doing that, because customers not only buy content, but also technology to support that content, whether it be discovery or managing owned resources or databases and that sort. So Leganto is a product that we launched a couple of years ago and really is gaining a lot of momentum for establishing reading lists for faculty and students. So it makes it easy and establishes a workflow for adding reading lists for courses, so students get access to it in a much efficient manner than probably what's done today, and really allows them to access all the reading material and content that they have within their ILS and internal library system. So it's really great. It's really been great from our customer standpoint. They really see the value and workflow efficiencies from doing this. So we really seen the uptick, one, because it's a good product, but two, it really does support remote learning, which obviously over the last year has been critical to success for any library and university. So really excited about that, and have seen, again, a great uptick from that standpoint. And I mentioned earlier on in the presentation that, print to electronic books has been obviously a significant change. We started, and I couldn't believe when I've been with the company about 4 years now. And when I started, I was shocked that, print was so dominant against ebooks, because, I see my kids and they're very much associated with how do you do keyword searches, on books and databases. And so I thought that would translate into universities. But then we started asking students, which do you prefer? And it's funny, we did a study and so the students came out and said, listen, if I'm gonna sit down for a couple hours and read, I want a hardcover book. And if I'm going to do a research project or a, some sort of paper, I really want electronic resources so I can, really flurry through a lot of different content sets. And so it did validate our original assumptions, but now that, COVID has happened and distance learning and the requirements of really going PDE for all resources, not only just books, but also, some of the magazines, journals, newspapers, everything that some folks relied on a print basis is now electronic. And I think, again, going forward, that's going to maintain because, even though folks will be going and students will be going on campus, I think most, from what I've heard, will provide also e-learning as well, even for students on campus, so they can keep the, some of the classroom sizes smaller and give the opportunity for folks that don't necessarily want to go into class the opportunity to still get those online services. So I still see this as continuing on, and we've really saw the benefits to customers and how we do it. And then, one of the things we've worked with customers on is a process and a program we call Title Matching Fast. And if you see the left box there, it is something we provide free to customers. And if anyone on this call is interested, please do let us know. It gives us the ability to take all your ISBNs and look at the print you have and find a comparable ebook for it. And usually we can get a good publisher discount to make that conversion. And we've done a lot of these TMFs over the last year for customers, and we're still willing to do those more. And it really just, it allows periodicals, magazines that you might have in hard copies, and we can find the electronic version of those. Again, ebooks is do it, and even streaming videos for some of the stuff we're having. So we've really worked hard to do that. We also can do use TMS for DEI, as I mentioned before, where we can show you all the DEI content we have, and we can analyze your holdings of DEI content and then recommend to you some of the ones that you don't have that you might want to acquire. So we could do that and put that together. Again, it's all free, and then it comes in a very intuitive report that shows you what you have, what you don't have, what are the sort of gap analysis, and it helps you, one, to meet certain goals and criteria for converting PDE, and also reclaim space. We've seen a lot of folks that have converting libraries to more workspaces where they can do collaboration using collaboration rooms. Obviously putting coffee bars and stuff into these things takes room. And so this enables folks to really get rid of rows of hard copy and get electronic in there. So that's some ways you can help us. We can help you do that through TMF. So again, if anyone has any interest, do let us know, or if any questions, and we can answer those. But it is a free service, so it's not something we're looking to make money off of, but it's something really just to help libraries to really manage the PDE conversion. So again, I kind of went through that. So one of the things on the right, it does reduce cost. It does allow folks to really get there. We can use many different ways to access it. All we need is from the library standpoint, the ability to show your holdings. And that's something that we keep confidential, so we return that back to you. So another one I mentioned before, Rapido and Rapid ILL. Rapido is really the resource sharing in whole books. You can sort of share with folks using our platform. And one of the ones that doesn't require a specific platform is Rapid ILL. It's very cost efficient. And again, it's in a subscription basis. We got it from Colorado State, who established it back in 1997. It's really been well accepted. We have, that says 330. I think it's closer to 400 now. So this is a little dated, so apologies. but it's really great for sharing resources. And what we've seen also is a lot of larger type institutions that want to help out small ones, especially during the pandemic. And it's really, this product, Rapid ILO, has allowed them to really establish a what we call a pod or a community. And they could add, smaller schools to a pod that they can then, lend resources to, and the smaller ones can borrow from. Some of the large ones that want to lend out something because of budgetary concerns the smallest can't afford, and it allows some of that interlibrary loans and sharing of content on a more permanent basis. So if anyone has interest in learning more about it, we could talk to you about how you can join a pod and how you can join the Rapid ILO community, really take advantage of borrowing from universities that want to lend to you, and also lend some things that may be more specific you want to lend out to other universities. And these pods are, there's multiple pods. So there's a very large one that, you start out as a large pod as far as everyone on the community, that is 300 and 400 that are on Rapid ILO, down to smaller ones that you can create one, for instance, within North Carolina. If, all the schools in North Carolina, as their first priorities, lend to each other, you could sort of add that pod and certainly join that. So it's a great way to do that. It's very cost efficient, as we said. And again, anyone has any interest, please let us know. So just to recap, because I know I'm probably running out of time here. Again, we've really made a lot of investments in DEI, and we will continue to do so. We obviously do charge for some, but some we give free, like Black Freedom Struggles. And we've made the ones that we do charge. I don't know why I just keep moving, but we do charge, but we try to make that fairly economical for those based on the content sets we've added to it. We have broader programs like PQ1 and Pre-Q1 Business. I don't know if I mentioned, but the next one coming out is PQ1 Nursing. That'll be probably towards the end of the year. And that will be another single disciplinary product with multi-formats associated with nursing and counseling. So that will be really great and allow folks to really expand what they're already doing from a teaching and learning on the nursing standpoint. And then again, the print to e-conversion continues. And we're really making those more available. We'll do the analysis, whether it be TMF or otherwise. And we're making, the Rapid ILOs and the Rapidos giving the ability to do resource sharing amongst peer universities, or even folks that just want to borrow and lend to each other. So that's kind of where we are. I think that's my end. So I'm happy to take any questions, and so is Gary and the team. So if there's anything we can answer for you, please let us know. And if not now, you could certainly reach out to us at a later date, and we're happy to give you any information, including Dawn Zahner, who I think Gary mentioned earlier was the account manager for North Carolina. But we're all happy to help. And if you have any suggestions or ideas as to what more we could do, because we're certainly working hard to keep this community and other communities within the academic world happy with what we do and how we do it. But if there's any feedback as to what more we could do, we're happy to take that back as well. So thank you for your time today.
Feel free to use the chat feature or the Q&A feature to ask questions of Jim or Gary, and I'm happy to moderate those to them.
Jim, I'm glad, while we're waiting, if there's any questions, we're glad you brought up your last point, because a lot of what we do is influenced by you, our customers, as we build out our community. So Jim's point, if there are ideas, we take that serious, because that does drive a lot of our, whether it's innovation to product or things we're trying to do within building the communities and the relationships. And the more we can extend, then the better for us. And being able to come more to this session is fantastic. to kind of share at a high level, maybe a little bit more than you knew about what ProQuest is doing, and comparing how we see what's going on in the community with your patrons, with faculty, and sharing a little bit of how we think we're addressing it.
I guess I was so complete that there's, I find that hard to believe, but okay.
Maura, anything you want to, anything that comes to mind for you?
I guess
Anything
if you, through all of your research, this, especially with the DEI initiatives that are coming on, what are some of maybe some specific challenges, maybe more for our smaller institutions, our smaller liberal arts schools? What are you seeing in regards to challenges and how ProQuest is maybe addressing those, maybe more specifically to our smaller institutions?
Gary, you want to?
I'll throw it to you.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, I think, you know, a lot of what we've seen is there's the need for DEI content, and you know, sometimes the budgets aren't there, and that's why, like I said, we've come up with, we think, you know, innovative ways, whether it be subscriptions or different packages put together to do that. I think also, you know, they struggle. I think a lot of folks struggle with, how do I incorporate, even when I get that content, how do I incorporate that into teaching and learning in the different course curriculum? So again, we have the ability through some of these TMF reports is to show you where some of this content, or how this content maps to faculty, and some of the courses that faculty offer. So we also have the ability to help folks to show that these, and I'll use an example, these set of books would be great for this, you know, a business program or a nursing program, or, you know, and it's so we're really trying to you know, provide as much analytics as we can, so to help people not only with acquiring the content, but then really, how do I leverage and maximize the use of that content? Because the last thing we want to do is to sell, you know, a university set of content and then not that, and have that not being used. You know, there's always researchers, and there's always folks that do research that have needs for it, but it's, you know, we're trying to make content available not only for researchers, but also for teaching and learning, and for faculty to really incorporate. So that's the biggest challenge is how do I get it? And then what do, you know, how can I use that in an intuitive way to incorporate into the curriculum?
And even helping schools, whether it's large or small, understanding how they're using it, their usage, and with that word budget that's always out there, as Jim talked about in the presentation, we're also looking at ways, whether you want to purchase via subscription or a one-time, depending on the content or databases that, you know, make sense for the school. So I think, you know, even to your question, whether it's a smaller liberal arts school or a large university, I think some of those challenges, you know, go across the board, so to speak. And I think Jim addressed it both for all types of schools.
Absolutely. The comment came in that sometimes it comes down to having funding and being able to show the university that they need the product,
Right.
but that the products are great.
Yeah, and that is right, because, and that's why we help with usage as well, right? To be able to show
Exactly,
you know, the librarian, or give them the ability to show their superiors how they're using that content. Because again, it's great, you can buy it, but if people aren't using it, then they look at, why are we going to buy any more content if we're not using it? So we try to do our best to help folks not only acquire it in a cost-efficient manner, but also to use it.
I think the other challenge that our institutions are seeing right now is we have a 3-year group of students that they need to address some challenges for them too. So we have those sophomore students who spent their entire freshman year in this virtual setting and are now
Right.
coming back to being in person and learning how to use these services of the library. We have the freshmen this year who became accustomed to this virtual and in-person learning environment will now have to go back to totally in person. And then we have our seniors, our high school seniors who are coming in that are not fully prepared for college and are going to need resources to be able to be successful. But then the challenge comes to our library staffs and faculty and other staff members getting the resources to them at the appropriate times that they can use them. So can you talk at all about maybe usage of some of these products as it pertains to students and their when to introduce these things? When can they be most effective for students?
So one of the things Jim brought up, and Jim, you could pick up on this on one of the slides when he mentioned Leganto, one of the Ex Libris software components, excuse me. Clearly, that's a tool that is there for the librarian to really help their patrons, whether it's faculty or that student, knowing what are my assignments, how easy can I get to my assignments, and the work I need to do. And that software helps make that, I'll say, that workflow so much easier, so much more comfortable. Because to your point about that freshman coming in or that sophomore that's now coming back to some maybe a hybrid or full on time world and getting and understanding and getting access to easily the work, the assignments, wherever the professor or faculty may have posted it, that can be challenging in itself and give a student quite a bit of anxiety potentially. And a tool like Leganto helps ease that. Anything else you'd want to add from that perspective, Jim?
Yeah, we also have, kind of different versions of a similar product for that sort of growth in development. So for instance, I mentioned ProQuest Central, which is part of our PQ1 academic product. We have a product called PQ1 Central Student, which we target for high schools. So we actually give that high school senior the access to what I would consider a pre-college version of ProQuest Central. And then and whether they go to community college, which also has access to it, or a university, which would have it, we've sort of made that progression that, we get them started in high school, and then they have the ability when they go to college, they're seeing one is a very similar look, but obviously a university version of a product that they started using in high school. So we're hoping that, because they might have used those ProQuest products, that when they get to university, it's not such a big shock to the system as to how to find content or really find or have their ability to search for content. We've sort of made that, one of the prerequisites of the way we want to teach at various levels. So that's one example. And Avon Academic Video Online, we think, the students coming up now are more video based. As we all know, we all have kids, or most of us have kids, and we see that they're more attuned to video. So, again, we've started that with introducing that into public libraries and then into the universities, as well as some of the high schools as well. So we think we've sort of addressed some of that. Now, whether all high schools and community colleges and universities have those products, we don't know, but certainly we've made the attempt to sort of make that transition a little easier.
That's fantastic. I think a lot of students have a bit of shell shock when they get to college and realize that the systems that they're using will not be the same. So the more that we can integrate similar softwares that look the same and maybe behave similarly with a higher academic level, I think that helps those freshmen coming in get accustomed quicker.
Yep, that's the intent. Like I said, it has the same look and feel. It's just, it has more added content as you get higher in the learning system.
Absolutely. I'll put one more call out for any other questions or comments in the chat that you'd like to share. We'll just give it a minute. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming and presenting with us today. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of these resources that ProQuest has available, both the free resources, because obviously those are important, but then all of the other services that we can look into. So we appreciate your time and all of the effort you put into this presentation.
Thank you so much. Our
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you.
It was great to be with
Thanks
you
for
all
the
today.
time, and I wish everyone a very prosperous 2021, and hopefully, again, if we can help in any way, please do let us know.